Hello, everyone. Welcome to this another segment, another podcast with me, Rachna, the Mind Architect Diaries. Here in this podcast, I share and I invite people to share their journeys, their layers which haven't seen unfolding in a way that is comfortable to them, to the audience, and sharing those journeys which they haven't shared with anyone so far. Today we have with us Vikesh, who is connecting with us directly from London, and I am I have privilege and honor to have him here today. And he's okay. Let's ask directly from him. Vikesh, first of all, welcome to this podcast, and thank you for accepting my invite. So, okay, let's tell something about yourself to our audience.
First of all, Rachna, thank you very much for your invitation, and it's my pleasure. So my name is Vikesh. I'm Vic. I'm born and bred in London. My background has been primarily engineering. I did a degree in mathematics and
Oh,
then went into telecommunications afterwards. And then sort of around the COVID period, I pivoted towards cybersecurity more. As we had plenty of time and there was not a lot to do, so I had a bit of a career change at that time. And more recently, I have moved into risk management. So I work within insider threat for Northern Trust. Um, so my specialty now is dealing with threats within the bank, which is an interesting area. And in my spare time, I like to read, I watch podcasts, I like to watch
great.
cricket, and I crack jokes, and I go to the gym and I do all sorts of things that can keep me happy.
Great, great. And it's so good to hear from you that you have a lot of experience in different segments in different zones. And it's glad to hear from you that you are someone who has shown an interest in the field of mental wellness. And it seems that like you have been following many things in your life which can be helpful and to our audience as well. Right. So in the professional realm, Vikesh, I feel that there are many stages in life where deadlines are coming in, their emails won't stop. But what matters is how you hold together, how who you hold yourself in those moments. That matters. And this is how life keeps on going, life keeps on kicking, life keeps on throwing challenges. And but if we have found some nice way to navigate through mental challenges through and have developed through those that resilience, it definitely helps. So taking forward, I'm asking the first question from you. So what does mental wellness mean to you personally?
Mental wellness obviously can mean different things to different people, right? For me, personally, just this is just with experience now, right? If you asked me 10 years ago, I may have given you a different answer.
Yeah,
But now it's more about just having, healthy boundaries with people, managing expectations of yourself and others as well. I think that leads to a lot of disappointment. And on a more personal note, I think you've just got to do the things you love, really. Life will throw challenges at you all the time. Like there is just no
yeah.
stopping it, right? So, personally for me, look, I love to go to the gym. I will do that in the mornings, right? I'll go for walks. If you come to my home, when I'm working from here, I'm always cracking jokes, right? So whenever I'm under that kind of pressure, that actually is a release for me. And it's in a safe environment, right? I don't have to worry about things too much and I can be quite open about it. And it just helps. I love listening to music. And I do anything that basically, will keep me happy during the day, right? And that's not just here and in office. So I think my thing is there to everyone. You've got to do the things you love when
Yeah.
you are under pressure because that is the only thing that can help.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, because you talked about maintaining healthy boundaries and also about so if you are meant if you can you share one or two things that can help our audience to maintain healthy boundaries. What we see that people sometimes those who are very emotional or who are emotionally connected to their blood relationships and to their friends, they find it really difficult. So they define it differently. So what does that mean to you and how one can set up the healthy boundaries?
Yeah, I think it's a good point, right? Because we can have these expectations of each other, and these relationships have bounded over a period of time. But I would always say to someone, like, what is your equation with the other person, right? How long do you know them? In what capacity do you know them? Because that's the framework of the
Yes,
boundary development,
yes,
right?
yes.
Sometimes we think, why is this person being so nice to me? I've hardly known them, and is there an agenda? And you might get easily drawn into that and think, oh, right, okay, maybe I need to give as well, right? But there
Yeah,
maybe is another agenda being played there, right? So it does come with a bit of time, unfortunately, and sometimes you have to maybe be a little bit burnt, to then go through that experience. But I would never say never overcommit to anything or anyone, right? Spend time gradually getting to know them. I think that can make things a lot easier for you in the long time. And even with family, right? I mean, it's an interesting one because we spoke about this in Ron's class, right?
yeah,
All of us have gone through this, right? So
yes,
you know,
yes,
and he mentioned something about blessing them from a distance, right? Unfortunately, a lot of our family members are at a stage in life like that they're not going to change, right? So the same advice
yes,
they'll give you 20 years ago, it may not be relevant now. But I can't say what I really want to say to them because it would hurt their feelings,
yes,
So,
yes,
um,
yes,
but yeah, my equation with them is because I love them, right? And so therefore I say, look, well, this is why I'm doing it. So this is I know you're saying X, Y, Z, but I'm saying this, and this is the reason why. So you have to make them understand. You have to spend some time with them. Don't do it over a phone call or a WhatsApp message. Go over there and speak to them. And I think you've got to figure out the equation with whoever you're dealing with. How long do they know for? What capacity do you know for? Once you do that, and especially if it's someone new coming into life, take some time. Don't overcommit. Don't
yes,
rush. Take things
yes.
slowly. And I think that you start to find out a bit more about each other and see if you can develop that relationship going forward in whatever capacity you want.
Yeah, and this is how beautifully you have explained that get to know the person more and spend some time, some quality time, and dig deeper into that. Then what's actually either it's a real connection or there are some hidden agendas behind it. And there's one more thing you talked about, the expectations. So, Vikesh, if we are meeting with the new person, what kind of expectations we can keep or not to keep? What's your opinion about it?
Yeah, capacity. So, like, if it's, I mean, for me, I try to be my authentic self, right? Given time. Obviously, when I'm in the office, it's different. But if I'm meeting, there's a senior people in where I work, and if I want to develop a relationship with them, right? You've got to try and put some time in, and you have to show some interest in them as well. I think it's all depending on who you're meeting and who's coming into your sort of life at that stage, right? Whether it be professionally
Right.
or personally. And then, look, just touch base with them, set up some time and just have an initial meeting, right? Whether it's in, if it's for lunch or if it's in their office or if it's a personal, someone who's living down the street, right? You just, there is no, fast way here. I think you've just got to show some time and see how they respond. And then after that first meeting, you'll gauge. You'll pick
Yeah,
up some
yeah.
things, and then you'll only know, right? From initial, 5-10 minute conversation, you will not know.
Yes,
So find out a bit more about them, and then go into that first meeting, or like if you're gonna go for tea, coffee, or whatever it is. But yeah, just know the surroundings and in what capacity are you meeting them, right? So, and I think that's it. And go with an open mind. Don't have any expectations, especially at that
yes,
point.
yes. Yeah, and it is you have actually decoded it very beautifully because it's very important. People get stuck here only, what to expect, and sometimes when in their first meeting itself they have lots of expectations and they get disappointed at that moment itself, and that hurts them and that actually stops them to move forward in that relationship, and that actually disturbs the entire zone of their friendships and their relationships. So very beautifully you have decoded it, and I hope all those who are watching it are definitely going to get benefit out of it, that about the healthy boundaries and also about the expectation. All right, moving forward to the next question, Vikesh. Can you share one of your daily ritual or habit that keeps you emotionally grounded despite the demands of your role?
Yeah, I think this is again tailored to whoever that person is, right? I would say in the last 3 to 4 months, I have started to listen to alpha waves when I'm in the office.
Oh,
There's a very specific reason for it. I find in the morning that is the most productive part of my day. It doesn't matter even if I'm at home or in office or whatever I'm doing. if especially when I'm trying to get through emails or I'm trying to get some stuff done or I'm planning what's going to happen for the rest of the day, or if I have to deal with something up front, the alpha waves just zones me out into a pure state of concentration. Doesn't matter if I'm a little bit tired, if I'm slightly fatigued even at that point, but the signals that it sends to my brain helps me to focus. So I'm able to manage that workload up front because that's where I'm most productive, right? As the day goes on, other things get in the way, and by 4 o'clock, you're not at the same productivity levels
Yeah,
which you were in
yeah.
the morning. So that's the first thing. I think I try to set my tone up for the day, and alpha waves is just the mental part of it, right? It keeps me calm, it keeps me very grounded. I can have many things coming through, but I'm able to process it or even ignore it for a period of time if I have to get something done. Um, and then, that's just through the day. And then in the evening, over the last, I think maybe 6 months, to help improve my sleep, I started to listen to guided meditation. This is all available on YouTube, right, for
All
free.
right.
It's done wonders for me, right? There may be times, where you could be tired when you're downstairs, and as soon as you come upstairs, you feel all of a sudden awake, right? So I found guided meditation for me. Keeping my phone aside and just listening to it, gradually puts me into sleep. And it's not about getting many hours of sleep; it's about getting quality sleep.
Quality
Sleep.
sleep.
Yeah, it's not about getting 8 hours, 7 hours. If I get 6.5 hours and I get deep sleep and I get quality sleep, I'm well rested. I wake up relatively fresh and I can go again the next day.
All right. So alpha waves really works for you. And any particular YouTube channel you follow for this, or do you have your own subscriptions for all these things, or you have something of your own?
No, no, these are just random. I've just tried and error. I've just searched and done Google search. It may be alpha wave, there's gamma waves, there's all sorts, So you
Yes.
kind of listen to what works for you now at the moment. I'm happy to share later on as well, what I'm listening to. There's one for studying, which is at 40 hertz, right? And I'm finding that works for me at a different point in time. So it also depends on your mood a little bit as well, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Sometimes, it may not be any of those, it may not be any of those things. And I listen to something else. I might listen to a Hindi soundtrack in the background, right? And that might help me, right? But I will have something to, especially in the morning, to keep me focused. And this is just a part of it.
Great, great. So, guys, also those who are listening to this, do try alpha waves as Vikesh has shared it, and I'm sure that it's going to work for you as well. Vikesh, I want to hear it from you that okay, do you believe in circadian rhythm? Do you believe that if we follow a particular sleep pattern, it works for everyone, or do you follow something like that? That you sleep at 10 p.m. and get up at 4 or 5. Does it work for you, or you something anything you have followed has worked for you?
Yeah, I think it changes over a period of time depending on what your life circumstances at that point in time, right? So as I've gotten older, my responsibilities have obviously increased as well. So I am more disciplined with my sleep now than I was before. I could get away with it before, is what I'm trying to say. I could spend many late nights and do what I wanted. But right now, I think for me, I figured out, if I'm in bed by sort of 11, right? I'm up by 6:20, 6:30. It's summer here right now, so I'm getting up a little earlier. The light is shining through, so I'm getting up just a little bit earlier. That is working for me. And it all depends on the person, right? I think what you do even before you go bed, like how late have you eaten as well, that has an impact. So,
Yes.
having dinner 3 hours before, making sure, 2 hours before, making sure you've not eaten anything heavy before you've gone to bed, because that's not going to help you. And
Yes.
you can, and it works for the person, right? Even if you just need to relax before you have a sleep, maybe just do some deep breathing exercises. I'm more inclined to foregoing quality. There have been times I've slept for 5 hours and I felt better than if I've slept for 8 hours. For me, it is really the quality of sleep. And especially when I finish my working day, right, and when I've done what I needed to do, especially those couple of hours before, that's kind of my time a little bit, right? And that's actually the wind down starts from there.
Okay.
So not doing too many activities before you go to bed, no heavy social media, watch the news, do something else, watch a series on Netflix or something. That it should be relaxing. So when you go into bed, you are feeling relaxed. If you do some
Yeah.
sort of strenuous activity before bed, that's not going to help you. So it all depends on the person. I think that, it's good to just find out and see what works for you. There's a lot of theories out there, but for me, it's just eating dinner a little bit earlier, not doing too much strenuous activity before bedtime, especially an hour before, right? So the wind down is starting from there. And so you can go into your bed and sleep. And that's, I think you start off that cycle quite nicely. So yeah, that's all I would say on this. I think it just varies person to person.
Yeah, yes, yes. And yes, you have decoded it very nicely that yes, it varies from person to person, and also find out what works for you. It can be 5 hours, it can be 6 hours, and the let's not rely completely on the rhythm, the circadian rhythm we talked about. We can follow any routine, but let's say it works for us, and when we are getting up, we are actually feeling fresh and we are in the mode of moving towards our work. Moving towards the next question, have you experienced any burnout previously, and how did you overcome it?
Oh yeah. So I would say I think everyone goes through this, whether they're running a
Yes,
business or they're having their professional careers. Mine, I think one that distinctly comes to mind came pretty much like over 10 years ago now. And when I think about it, I'm thinking, damn, I can't believe I reacted the way I did. And if I was in that position now, what I would do. Yeah, so over 10 years ago, I was working at a place, and there was a role coming up for migration into a new team, right? And I believed I was pretty good for that position. I'd done a lot of the work that was leading up to it, and what the criteria was that I was meeting all of those. But there was someone else in that company at the time who had family connections in the company, so. Um, from there, it was, and they had an interest as well. And there it became a challenge afterwards because um, my workload started increasing. I was being treated a little bit differently as well. And it was very visible, right? So it's not something you see on email, it's body language, it's how, people are communicating with you. So there was a lot of like power play going on, right? And my workload kind of increased, and sort of whatever I was doing, this is not good enough, right? So but it's actually not that, something else is going on, which is leading to this. So I was fairly young then, and at that time, like obviously, sleep was all over the place. That one week I remember was really tough,
really.
and then I requested some time off work as well at that period of time, so that I could gather my thoughts. And then when I came back, I made a complaint well, I raised a request within like the employees union, right? And that's how I was able to start getting some support, right? So that kind of put the brakes on everything once you do that. It's a step I don't really wouldn't have liked to take, right? I spoke with management and so, but there was no option at that point. So I had to go down this because I was like, if I don't get this, I could be moving it somewhere else, and it could my career can completely take a different path. So yeah, and so I was able to do that. I was able to get other support as well from other people who had faced something similar. So this always helps, right? Who I could
Yes,
confide in and take
yes,
advice, and who are much more seasoned than me. And this had dragged out for about 3, 4 months. However, in the end, I was able to proceed forward and move into the team that I wanted to. And there was a good reason for it. That team had, a lot of opportunities, a lot of money making opportunities. It was well respected. And yeah, and it was just through, taking a break, taking a pause, that week, that time, a few couple of days ahead of work, I was able to go back, reassess, and then formulate a plan. Because when you're going day to day, it's very difficult, right? It's just
yes,
constantly consuming your mind. You're not getting support from when you need. You need to just sometimes step back so that
yes,
you can go forward. So pause,
yes,
reassess, step back, go forward. And you've got more time than you think, right? It just seems like
yes,
it's happening too quickly. But you step back and move on. And you know what? I'm so glad that happened, because when I look back now, that is one of my, that has developed a resiliency in me. That, if something was like that to happen ever again, it could happen anywhere, right? Personally or professionally, it can happen. Know what to do. I'm in better place in knowing what to do. And so, it's again experience. It just comes with time, and I think it's good for young people to go through this. I think we should not shield them too much. We have to encourage them to confront their problems, not shy away from it, right?
Yes, yes, very
You know, we
true.
will, you know, in our culture, it's very like, okay, beta, don't worry about it. You know, it will be okay. Sab theek ho jayega. Like, it's not, you know. So I think, you know, it's my, request is to all the parents, all of them is to, no, encourage your child to go through the problem and show them that support and help them develop strategies and, find other people who can help them. I think, and what, because once you go through something like that, you become unstoppable afterwards. Because if you can get through
Yes,
that, it's not actually your work that's stopping you. It's the other politics and everything else that's holding you back, right? So you have to learn how to navigate through it. And don't aim for perfection. You can't. You can just only navigate through that.
yes,
So I think that that's all I have to say on this, really. It's good if youngsters do go through this. I think it's very character building and it helps you in so many other areas as you get on in your career.
yes, yes. And our next question is actually related with this, that what advice you would like to give to the young professionals entering any industry and protecting their mental well-being?
Yeah, I think just from my limited time I've been working, obviously it's been over 10 years plus now. I think one thing is very apparent, right? It doesn't matter what field you're in, like it doesn't matter, right? Whether you're in private, public sector, or you're running your own business, um, you know, um, as you get on in your career, you will be challenged. Like
Yes.
you are going to be faced with people who do not want you to succeed, unfortunately. That is just a fact. So one of the things I've learned is, especially in the corporate environment, and I'll say this to, whoever is in corporate, right? Make sure that you communicate and you are visible amongst your peers and management. Um, and in particular, senior leadership team. Um, Especially on the tasks that you're doing daily, right? That you're spending, 10, 12 hours on. Make sure you're documenting your progress on what you're doing, making sure that that is being fed back to management, senior leadership, and making sure that you're having those one-to-ones with your line managers on a weekly basis. It's
Really?
so important. I wish I was told this a lot earlier, but it's not about what you're doing a lot of the time. It's how you're communicating what you're doing. How many times have we seen people thinking, I didn't know he was doing that yet he's got so and such post? Because they're communicating better. It's not like they're doing any more work, they're communicating better, right? So you must be able to communicate. You must be able to share your ambitions with your manager, and you must document your progress as well, right? So weekly, monthly, like keep track of stuff because things will get ahead of you. And you may have done a brilliant piece of work for somebody, right? And it's you've forgotten about it because now you're swamped into all of your other stuff. And this helps massively. And another thing to this is to network. Very important. Network with people within your team, but also network with people around the organization. You should know how the various bits are coming together. This will help you massively where there is change in the organization because it does come. Um, and that will create two opportunities. If you're
Great.
not seen to be visible, if you're not taking an interest what XYZ is doing, what other departments are doing, then it's very difficult afterwards if you want to go for a certain promotion or you want to go or you want to change tack in your career. And also if things are happening, unfortunately redundancies happen, layoffs do happen in organizations, you are in
Yes.
best place, right? Because you've gone through all this, right? You've discussed your ambition, you've kept track of your progress, you've networked, you shared your ambitions with your leadership team, you've met with different people, they can vouch for you as well, right? When things are going to say, oh, you know what, I know X, Y, and Z, we spoke about this, we're doing a follow-up on this, and see how you can
Yes.
collaborate and work together. Just don't think that because they're in a different department, no, 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 it's got nothing to do with me. No, don't have this silo mindset. If they're open to it, get clearance from your line manager and find to see if there's a way of collaborating. Don't just do
Okay.
your job, make sure you work around your job. This is very, very important because it will build up your confidence. It will build up your social capital, right? And there's just so many other spin-offs. The possibilities are endless if you just go and network with other people. So this is my sort of like nugget I can give, and this has come just with a period of time. And I'm only saying this because I was in this place, a few years ago, where, just focus on my work and, wasn't getting ahead. And it's only really recently in the last 4 to 5 years that opportunities, touch wood, have created themselves. And it's just because I'm doing more of those things more often. And people will see if you're genuine. If you're adding value, they will know it.
Yes, yes.
And worst case scenario, like if you're doing all the right things, you communicate it and layoffs happen, you know what? Stuff will happen. Like you can't control it, but you should be able to go with your head held high and say, you know what? I tried everything. Now, the next opportunity, I'm going to do X, Y, Z. So you
Right.
can go leave it at, don't go, you go with no guilt afterwards. You laid everything on the table. You gave your 110%. It hasn't worked out. Fine. You know what? I'll move on. It won't be easy, but you will move on. You'll wake up to fight another day, and the next opportunity will be around for you.
Right. And because you haven't shared a nugget, you have actually shared an epic around it. It's your experience speaks about it. It's not about entering into an organization. It's not about building your reputation. It's actually holding together and mixing and organizing it in a way individual goals combined with the organizational goals and finding the ways that how one can do it in their own capacities. And you have shared a lot of things, not just one. You have shared actually the whole saga that how one can do it. So definitely this is going to help each and every youngster who is entering into the corporate or entering into in any field, in any segment, in any niche. This is going to help them in each and every way. It's not just about mental resilience and toughness, it's also about how you can contribute to the organization and get back through in the form of rewards and recognitions. And it you can sustain it. One can sustain it. I remember one of the statement said that human resources leave in the evening and one organization should make sure that they come back in the morning. So it's not just one way. Actually, it's a two-way, that individuals also have to put in a lot of efforts to stay with the organization.
Yeah, they should before they go into the workplace, they should see what they want to do, right? I think everyone's, it can be quite easy to, chase the money or, because so and so is working there, but really understand that business well, right? I think once you do, opportunities do create themselves, people will vouch for you. You can see opportunities and you've got an opportunity to present that as well, right?
Yes.
Sometimes there is no job, but your idea, your suggestions, what you've seen because you've touched base with other departments and seeing there's linkages, that in itself can create an opportunity. Say, maybe management are not seeing that, and because they're very busy people, right? They've got heavy schedules. Sometimes to sit back and sort of take back and look at things, it can be a challenge at times, right? Especially in the demands of today. So, if you can learn how to fix problems, I think be a problem solver. We need people to take on more complex problems. And if you can just if you can start looking at complex problems and learning how to solve them and work with your other departments, and also within your team, you can add value add. And once you provide value add, they will want to keep you.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
it's because
yes,
that takes time, right? Then there's not everyone who will be willing to do that. So there'll be others who want to do their role and come out, and it's absolutely fine, no problem. But if you can be that person, you have the willingness and you have the enthusiasm, right? And you're looking to do value add, and I'm not just going to do my BAU work. I'm looking to do X, Y, Z. It just helps you in so many other ways. And when you move on in your career, you can talk about this, right? And say, look, this is what I did for a day job, but actually my key accomplishments were X, Y, Z. And I did this with this department. I did this. That shows you can work with people. And organization is all about working with people.
yes, yes, yeah. So Vikesh, with this note, that first of all, thank you again that you connected with us from a different country and we were able to manage our timings. And guys, this is something we are bringing on the table, that yes, people do have mental pressures. They do have different kinds of challenges in different kinds of job, but we do have people who have faced these challenges and have navigated it so beautifully. I'm bringing it the people from different segments and different zones, that those who have faced, navigated, and are bringing something valuable to you. Vikesh, thank you for joining with us today. And one
Thank you.
closing note, any book you would like to refer to our audience? I know that you are a reader. Any book you would like to read, and any statement
Um,
that stayed with you from that book.
God, I cannot remember any statement. There's multiple quotes. I would recommend one book. It's called The Blue Ocean Strategy. Um, it's, and in summary, it's about, organizations where they're trying to fight in the red ocean where the market is already very cluttered.
Okay.
And you have to develop a new blue ocean for you to sort of thrive and go beyond your
Oh,
expectations and beat the market. That's a book I've loved reading. I think it's one for everyone to read in their spare time. Happy to share it with you after this call, definitely.
yeah, sure, sure. And I would also like to read that book. On this note, thank you everyone for watching this, and we'll be up with the next episode. Thank you.